Welcome back everyone, it's Eric from Rare Candy here. Today we are back with another entry into our testing round series for the new Unified Mind set. So if you guys are unfamiliar with these testing rounds videos, we normally look at some upcoming archetypes that a set gives us, and we try them out with some kind of early unrefined list to see what might have some potential for competitive play. So here in this video, we're going to have myself, I'm going to be on the left, I'm going to be playing the new Haxorus, and then over on the right we have Jaime Small, who is a local player from my area. He was nice enough to help me record this video. He's going to be playing the new Breloom that we have coming out in this set as well. So two non-GX decks. We'll have to see which one is going to emerge victorious here. I think on paper it's relatively even of a matchup because both these decks are just going to one-shot each other. But in the case of Jaime, he's reliant on a stage 1, whereas I'm reliant on a stage 2. So I think just on paper, Jaime might have the slight edge, just because I think my deck is a little bit more likely to whiff a return KO than his. But here it looks like I'm getting to go first, and I'm going to use that new stadium card, Big Oven, and discard a card from my hand, and search my deck for 3 fire energy, put them into my hand. So here I'm just trying to thin out my hand a little bit here, or thin out my deck a little bit here. I didn't get a good look at my hand, so I must be trying to thin some cards in order to get some sort of combo piece off of this Stellar Wish this turn. So here I am going to, like I said, get this fire energy out of the deck. That'll definitely be good later in the game once we get a Haxorus set up, just because Haxorus will do more damage for every energy that's attached to it. So, but let's see what we can get here off of this Stellar Wish. And we do find a Cynthia, and we do find a Welder. So, you know, depending if I want to hang on to my hand, I might even decide to keep the Welder and put the Cynthia back. And that does look like what I'm going to opt to do here. So I'm going to go for Mysterious Treasure as well. I'm going to discard a Jirachi. So I probably should have done that before the Stellar Wish, more than likely. But here I am going to get down and axe you. Well, I guess maybe... Yeah, I think I probably should have done it before the Stellar Wish. That would have been a little bit better if I was trying to hit a supporter. But here I can welder 2 of these fire energies onto this Axew, and then draw myself 3 cards. And we find a Victini Prism, have some energy in hand for next turn. Not really sure what all I want to do. I might get down... I could attach the fire energy preemptively to something. Maybe to that Ditto, that could be good, or maybe even to that Victini in my hand. But here, I'm just going to get the energy down on Ditto. That seems fine. And then we'll probably just see a pass from there. So it looks like Jaime was fortunate enough to start with a Breloom, or I'm sorry, not Breloom, but a Shroomish. But he definitely wants to find himself a Jirachi. I do have quite a few Jirachis in the list he is playing. So that's going to be, I think, what he really wants to find, you know, on his turn 1 here. Just so he can get this, this Shroomish out of harm's way, potentially. So he does find a Lily off this Pokegear. That's definitely a good start for him so far. He has Grass Energy in hand. It looks like we're going to see another Pokegear. We might see him just fail it if he's going to go for the Lily this turn. And he does have a Lily there, but it looks like he is going to hang on to it. I guess that's okay. If he doesn't have another supporter for the following turn, I don't mind hanging on to the Lily off of this Pokegear. Here we're going to see a Grass Energy come down. And we are going to see a Lily for 4, I think it is. And we see a Netball in his hand as well. That's definitely going to be good. So, of course, that will allow him to search his deck for a basic Grass Pokemon or basic Grass Energy. So, Netball, Mysterious Treasure, etc. These are definitely some of the better search cards that we have in this new post-rotation format. So, any deck like this Breloom one that can abuse these cards is definitely going to be, I think, halfway decent. So, he is going to get himself down another Shroomish. We see a Skateboard in his hand. I definitely want to see him retreat here. He has another Fungus in his hand. I wouldn't mind seeing him just retreat into that and sacrifice that if he does not have a Jirachi. And here, I think we are double checking the translation for Shroomish, because this and the Fungus both have like a status conflict or inflicting attack. The Fungus inflicts sleep and the Shroomish inflicts poison, but at the time we forgot which one did which, so Jeremy's just double checking us here just to make sure that we do you know, do the right thing here on this attack. So yeah, it looks like he found the page there. I could see it on his phone. So yeah, Shroomish is gonna inflict poison, I believe it is. Oh, okay. And okay, I guess I was flipping for my sleep on my previous turn. I did not flip for that. So let's see what I'm going to do. I'm going to get down another Jirachi. Might even get down that Victini, and then just Cynthia, refresh my hand a little bit here. So I'm going to be looking for a rare candy Haxorus and a metal energy, and an escape board as well. So, it's a lot to ask for, but luckily I do have this Jirachi, so I can potentially make that happen. If I'm able to actually knock out the Shroomers, that's going to be pretty big, I think. Especially since we are in a format without Rescue Stretcher, limiting Jeremy's attackers by 1 throughout the course of the game is definitely going to be pretty solid. And we do hit the... Okay, it looks like all we're missing is the rare candy, actually. So here I'm going to discard the another big oven to search out 3 fire energies out of my deck. I just want to thin these out. That way, off this Stellar Wish, I can hit a rare candy and evolve into Haxorus. So let's see what we can get. This is going to be a big Star Wish here. And unfortunately, we did whiff, which is a bit of a bummer. But we do have this Cynthia, luckily. And we can, just hang on that for the following turn. But we do have an escape board. We could just retreat into this other Jirachi. I think that would be fine, too. So I'm going to get down a Fire Energy preemptively on this Victini. And here looks like I am going to get that escape board down. So that will allow me to retreat in this other Jirachi and, preserve this Jirachi with the escape board. Because I'm assuming my active is getting knocked out on the following turn. So I may as well at least get another trainer card off of this Jirachi first. And we are going to grab a Mysterious Treasure, so that's fine. I can play that and at least find myself a Fracture this turn. So I'm going to discard a Fire Energy and just search for Fracture. So here I'm going to evolve into Ditto Prism Star, since I can't rare candy into a Haxorus with Ditto, so I definitely want to manually evolve into the Fracture at some point as well. So from there, probably just going to see a pass. And just going to flip for sleep. Do stay asleep, but like I said, guys, I'm not really anticipating that this Jirachi is going to survive. So here we're going to see an escape board and a Jirachi come down. We're going to see a Mungus and a Breloom. So Jeremy has kind of the entire combo right here. So if you guys are unfamiliar with this combo, the Amoonguss has an ability. If you play a Pokemon with the Spore attack into play, then your opponent's active is Poison and Asleep. And as you could probably guess, the Breloom does have the Spore attack. Also, the Fungus does as well. But so whenever he evolves in this Breloom, I'm asleep and poisoned. And then Breloom's primary attack does 120 if your opponent's active is asleep. So that's the whole way he's trying to inflict damage here. So Jeremy is going to pull ahead and take the first knockout here. And basically this matchup is going to boil down to who can whiff a knockout first in the exchange. As long as we both can exchange knockouts for the rest of this game, Jeremy is going to come out just barely ahead. So here, just trying to think what I'm going to do. I'm going to, looks like attach to the Haxorus. But looks like I might be thinking about using Haxorus's ability here. Looks like I'm a bit conflicted. Here I'm going to go for a Stellar Wish first. And going to go for a rare candy. Alrighty. So maybe I have another Haxorus in hand that I can, get out into play. That would actually be pretty nice. So here we're just going to rare candy into this Haxorus and attach a metal energy. So now I'll be able to knock out this Breloom. The Haxorus has an attack. It's for a fire and metal, and it does 10 plus 40 for each basic energy card attached to the Haxorus. So with 3 energies and the 10 base damage, we're hitting 130, which knocks out this Breloom, which only has 120 HP. So here I'm going to use this big oven again, it looks like, and get a fire energy out of the deck, discarding that Mew. Not too much of a relevant attacker here. And so let's see from there what I'm going to consider doing. So I could even discard the big oven and use the other Haxorus' ability to set itself up with a little bit of energy. That would be fine potentially. And so here it looks like we're discussing something. It looks like it's pertaining to the energy or the big oven play that I was talking about discarding. Okay, so it looks like I am going to discard the big oven and power up the other Haxorus. So the ability on the Haxorus says if there's a stadium in play, you can discard it and attach up to 3 fire and metal energies, I believe it is, from hand to Haxorus. And so here we're just going to take a knockout on this Breloom and tie up the prize exchange. So let's see what Jeremy's going to be able to do. I do see Pokemon Communication, so I'm assuming we're going to see another Breloom come down. Oh yeah, he did have one in hand last turn, but he did take it back, I do remember. So he's going to Stellar Wish really quick. The big things he really wants this turn, he's going to want a Grass Energy and another Shroomish. Those are the big cards he just has to have this turn if he wants to, stay ahead here. So let's see, he is going to play the Netball. Let's see what he's going to grab. So it looks like he's eyeing himself down a Grass Energy. And we did see a Pokemon Communication in his hand, so we might even see him grab the second Shroomish off of that, if that's the case. So here, we're going to see this Grass Energy come down. We have the Breloom coming down. So thanks to Amoonguss' ability, it will be able to inflict the sleep and poison effect. So here we're going to see Pokemon Communication. And here he's going to communicate another Amoonguss back and just grab... Okay, he does need the Diancie. I did forget about this because right now he's only hitting for 130 once you factor in poison. Haxorus has 150, so he did need to get the Diancie. So this is forcing him to need one more piece of the combo to find this Shroomish. I'm not sure the counts of what he has left in his deck. Like, I don't know how many Netballs versus like Pokemon's versus Pokemon Communication versus physical Grass Energies. So depending on how many Grass Energies he had left in deck, I maybe would have preferred to see him use the Netball for a Shroomish and then hope to hit a Grass Energy or Netball off of this Cynthia here. And I don't see another Shroomish, so that's actually pretty bad. But the one good thing Jeremy does have going for him is that he does play the Kartana from Unbroken Bonds, which he can potentially use next turn if it's in his deck and not prized. If he's unable to find himself a Shroomish this turn. And let's see. Guess he's just thinking about what he wants to do. If he wants to go in swinging with this Breloom. And I think he pretty much has to. He needs to take another prize here. And so thanks to the Diancie Prism Star and the stats conditions, he will be able to take a knockout. So luckily I have another Haxorus already set up here. And looks like I have a Cynthia in my hand. I have a Welder as well. So I have Rare Candy Pokemon Communication, so I might even just Welder this turn. I don't think that's even that terrible. So feels kind of bad only accelerating the one energy, but I think it's okay. I want to hang on to these other cards in my hand. Didn't really want to use that Viridian Forest. But here I'm going to attach a Metal. And now I can use this Pokemon Communication, put this actually back in my deck, and get another Haxorus. So I am being fortunate enough to be able to keep finding these evolution pieces. Of course, one of the big downsides to Stage 2 decks is just finding all of the combo pieces every turn for all of your attackers. And then we still have a Stellar Wish at our disposal as well. So let's see what I can find here. So Mount Coronet, that seems just fine to me. We can thin that out of the deck. Probably won't play any of the stadiums this turn, I would imagine, just because, Jeremy could very well bump them with his own, and we really don't need any effects of our stadiums in particular right now. So just going to opt to, hold on to those in my hand for the moment. So we're going to take another knockout on this Breloom, and we're going to tie up the prize trade yet again. And so I think Jeremy needs to find the Kartana this turn. Okay, so he is going to find that, but he can't. He's only doing 130 right now. So one thing he could potentially do is if he is able to find himself a Fungus, he can inflict the sleep and poison. And then if I don't wake up in between turns, Haxorus would actually get knocked out going back into his turn. Unfortunately for Jeremy, I did find an escape board off the prizes, so I actually would be able to get out of that, but I definitely think that is the play that Jeremy needs to be going for. So he's got his Kartana with an energy. He needs to find a Fungus and also needs to find another Shroomish as well. That way he can set up a Breloom for the following turn here. So here we are going to see the Slumber Forest come down. And we see a bunch of Pokemon in his hand. Here we're going to see a Stellar Wish first. So maybe he's trying to hit a Cynthia or something since his hand is a little bit clunky. Though we do see Netball, so that's not too bad. The netball would at least guarantee one of those Pokemon, but here it looks like he is opting for the Cynthia. I don't necessarily mind that either, just because his hand was very clunky. I think it was like 2 Amoonguss and a Breloom and a Jirachi. So even if he used the netball, you know, his hand still would have been very clunky with that Lily on that turn too. So let's see what he can manage to find off of these 6 cards. Now the only unfortunate thing is he's already used his Stellar Wish, so he's going to need to find both of these Pokemon off of this raw 6 cards. And we do see a netball, so that's definitely good. He can find at least one of those Pokemon. And we are going to see a Shroomish, it looks like. But he's double guessing himself, so he must be going for the Fungus here. That seems good. So I'm just wondering if he does have a way to find the Shroomish. That's the other big thing. Maybe it's already in his hand, but he really needs to get that down to make sure that he can keep up in this game. I think this turn, if he does whiff that, then I think I'm going to be able to pull ahead, and if I can just keep consistently setting up attackers, I'm going to be able to close out this game. Because right now I have 2 prizes on board, and then all I need is, what, 2 more Haxorus set up, which isn't too impossible to do. But I have 2 turns at the least to set up another Haxorus, which I think I can do. So here, Jeremy is going to do that combo I just mentioned. And I do stay asleep, but unfortunately I do have a skateboard in hand that I drew off the prizes, so that is very unfortunate for Jeremy. You know, he did kind of all the right things. He played to his outs here, but just unfortunate I had the skateboard. So here I'm just thinking, what do I want to do? Do I want to bump this stadium? If so, what stadium do I want to bump it with? But here I'm going to bump it with the Viridian Forest, because I still have, I think, another Metal Energy in deck, so I'm thinking I probably want to save the Mount Coronet for the end of the game, once all my Metal Energies are gone. But the only downside to this is that Jeremy can actually abuse this Viridian Forest now that it's in play. But at the same time, I think I'm going to be going ahead this turn, so I really don't even mind, you know, letting him have use to this just because, or have access to this just because I think I'm going to be ahead anyways. So here, I'm definitely going to have to retreat this Haxorus. It's such a shame. It has 10 HP left. I am going to use this Viridian Forest, discarding a rare candy. And looks like we are out of fire energy in the deck right now. But I do have some fire crystals left in my deck as well. It looks like I'm opting not to get the metal energy. Maybe I have a Lily in hand if that's the case. Okay, so I'm just going to use this fire crystal. So interesting. I think I should have gotten the metal energy out the deck. That's definitely a misplay on my part if I didn't take it there. Or maybe I saw incorrectly. Maybe I didn't have one, but I'm pretty sure there was one in the deck. So here I'm going to retreat. Thanks to that skateboard, it will allow me to retreat even while I am asleep. And then from there we can attach energy for turn and take a knockout with Haxorus. And here we're going to get down another Jirachi. I'm just kind of trying to prepare in case... Okay, it looks like I am thinking about hanging on to it. I guess just in case if I draw a Pokemon Communication, I want to be able to hang on to it. Oh, and here I am changing my attachment, it looks like, just because the Kartana is weak to fire, and I don't need the extra energy in this case. Or wait. Oh, no, it has 70 HP. That's what it was. Yeah, because just with the 2 energy alone, I'm hitting for 90, so I don't need the third fire energy, or I'm sorry, third energy attached. So I'm going to pull ahead to 3 prizes, and Jeremy's going to set up this Jirachi, but unfortunately, he's in kind of a bad spot. It's because he doesn't have any attackers ready to go. He's going to have to attack with Fungus this turn. He's going to have to try to find himself a Slumber Forest and an energy, which he does have in hand already. So here we are going to see a Stellar Wish from Jeremy. Let's see if he can find himself the Forest. I think he does have it. But here he is going to opt for a Netball. So probably just going to grab himself a Shroomish. But like I said, he definitely wants to find himself that Slumber Forest to attempt to strand this Haxorus in the active spot. So we're going to see a Grass Energy come down with Shroomish. I'm not a big fan of this, though. Really hope Jeremy does decide to change this to the Fungus. You know, we're just playing for fun, so he's more than welcome to take back, you know, any plays. And a lot of times in these testing rounds videos too, guys, these are largely our first times playing with the decks. I do have some experience with both these, but this is Jeremy's first time playing with this deck. So there might be some small misplays that happen from time to time. So just try to be a little bit generous in the comment section if they do occur. And here Jaime does end up changing it. So here he's going to play Eric's Hospitality, draw himself an extra 4 cards. And does he find the Stadium card? I'm not sure if I see one in his hand. So he is going to get down another Jirachi. Now the big downside to this, well, I shouldn't say big downside. Well, yeah, I guess it kind of is, because let's say Haxorus stays asleep this turn and he can take a knockout with Breloom the next turn. He still has a full bench and isn't able to get down an additional Shroomish. So I actually am not a huge fan of this Jirachi play here, just because now he's never going to be able to set up 2 Brelooms at a single time, and I think that might even shut him out of the game here. I think he honestly just had to kind of roll the dice and hope that I didn't flip out of the sleep on my turn. I think keeping that extra bench spot is just far too important here. So here he is going to put me to sleep, and we'll have to see if I'm able to come out of this. And I do stay asleep, so this is a situation again where the you know, had he left that bench spot open for another Shroomish, it would have paid off here. So I think that's definitely going to be a misplay, and you know, he is going to be able to buy himself a turn here, don't get me wrong, but the issue is I think I'm still going to be a little bit too far ahead. So as long as I'm able to set up one more Haxorus, I think I just win, because I'll have a Victini, a benched Haxorus, and then another benched Haxorus to close out the game. But here it looks like I had a pretty slow turn, just going to pass back over to Jaime. He's going to get that Breloom into play. He's going to attach a Grass Energy here, and it looks like he's just going to retreat this Fungus and take a knockout here with this Breloom. Does he have a supporter? Okay, he does have Lily at least. So he's going to get 2 cards. And not too much else he can really do. Like I said, his bench is going to be clogged, and he is going to go for a Pokemon Communication here. I guess it's fine. I don't think it's too important this turn. I think I would have rather seen him hold on to it for next turn in case he top decked this Ditto or a Shroomish or something like that. But I don't think it's going to be a big deal. But here he can take a knockout though, and hop back, you know, into the game a little bit and tie up the prize exchange. So my hand is pretty massive though. I really need to find myself a Pokemon Communication or a Mysterious Treasure at this point. So here I'm going to attach a Fire Energy, and just going to Cynthia and refresh my hand. My deck is getting pretty thin, so I feel like I should be able to find myself another Axew in the next turn or so. You know, I didn't get a look at my deck very well whenever I've searched it. I might even have some prize that I'm unaware of too, so that would definitely be pretty bad. But let's see what I can manage to find off of this Cynthia for 6. Like I said, really just want to find myself an Axew. That's going to be the big thing. And there it is. So I'm feeling pretty good about the spot we're going to be in here. So we found the Axew, and we still have a Stellar Wish, so we can even find a Mysterious Treasure, hopefully, for the following turn to be able to evolve into another Haxorus. And we do get Pokemon Communications. That's basically just as good here. And as you can see, guys, my deck is getting quite low at this point, but that's okay. I think we'll be able to take, you know, 2 more prizes after this turn before we deck out anyways. So here we are going to retreat. And we can just take a knockout on this Breloom, going down to 2 prizes. Now, the one thing I do have to worry about a little bit is a reset stamp, just because Jaime does play that in the list over there. So I will have to be on the lookout for that. But luckily I have a Jirachi with an escape board, so hopefully that can bail me out if I am able to ever get reset stamped. So here Jaime is going to promote a Jirachi. And what does he have in hand? So we do see a Pokemon Communication. He is going to put another Jirachi back. And here he's just taking a peek. He does have a Breloom, so that's fine. And here you can find that, but he's just kind of in a bad spot because I'm attacking with this, well, I think his other Shroomish is prized, and he won't be able to get a knockout with a Shroomish. Because if he had a Shroomish, he could just attach a Grass Energy and poison this Haxorus to knock it out. But since that's not the case, he just has to give up a prize here. And here he concedes, he realizes that's the game, and there you can see that Shroomish that he had prized. So Haxorus is going to take the first game in this series. We are doing a best of 3 though. So Jeremy is, of course, you know, welcome and has plenty of time to make a comeback here. And one thing I will point out though, we did record a few games, and in our second game that we played originally, we actually played some of the cards incorrectly. So we actually scrapped that game, which Jeremy won. So I'm actually starting first. So in case that looks a little bit weird, normally Jeremy would start first in this situation. But like I said, we played some stuff at the end of that game incorrectly, and the cards weren't supposed to work in the way that we were playing them. So unfortunately, we had to scrap that, and we're just making our third game the second game of this series here. So that's why I am getting to go first, guys. So let's see. We are going to see Mysterious Treasure on my part, getting rid of a Fire Energy. Definitely seems okay. We play predominantly Fire Energy in the deck. We play Fire Crystal, so we have some ways of getting these back if need be. And then I am just going to search out an Axew and try to start getting set up. So going first, definitely pretty big in this match, just because both these decks are going to one-shot each other. And Jeremy unfortunately has that ugly Diancie Prism Star start. That's definitely the worst starter in this deck, just because it has a 2 retreat cost. So that is going to force Jeremy to need a physical switch to get out of the active spot if he does want to. So here we are going to see a Netball. Probably find himself a Shroomish here. So can he find the switch? Can he find Jirachi, a Fungus? Let's see what he can get on his turn here. So we do see a Grass Energy in hand. That's definitely good. We see an Amoonguss. That'll be good for the following turn. Does he have a supporter, though? And we do see a switch in his hand, so that's actually pretty good. So here we're going to see him switch into this Shroomish and just go for a Cynthia. Okay, so he doesn't have the turn 1 Lily, but this is still definitely a good start given how bad his starter was. He found his switch. He can retreat this Shroomish if he decides to, like if he finds himself a Jirachi off of this Cynthia. He can protect this Shroomish and, you know, keep getting set up. So let's see what he can manage to find off of the Cynthia. Ideally, he's going to want probably a Fungus, Jirachi, maybe another Shroomish, and a supporter for next turn. That would be good. And so let's see, what does he have? He does have Jirachi, and he has a Pokegear. That'll be good on the following turn. We see an Escape Board. I'm not sure how much I like the Escape Board play. Oh, and here he is going to take it back. That's fine. The reason I'm saying that is just because if I'm able to get like a turn 2 Candy Haxorus and knock out his Jirachi, if it comes into the active, the Escape Board goes down with it, and he never got any effect off of the Escape Board. So I'd rather see him save that for when he's actually going to make use of the effect. So here he's going to grab an Erica off the Pokegear. If he already had a supporter in hand, I think this is fine. However, if he didn't have a supporter, I think the play would have been to wait and use the Pokegear on the next turn. That way he could effectively dig 1 card deeper after his draw for turn. So here we are going to see a Stellar Wish. Maybe find himself a Netball would be good, or a Pokemon Communication. And here we do see a Netball. That's definitely good. Not sure what all is in Jeremy's hand, but you know, if he doesn't have Grass Energy, he might want to save that Netball for a Grass Energy next turn. I think that would be fine if he does want to do that. And so that might be what he is opting to do here. And here we are going to flip for sleep. My Jirachi is going to wake up. And here I have the Candy Haxorus. And I'm just trying to think what I want to do here. I'm going to Pokemon Communication, it looks like. Putting Mew back in my deck. So here I'm probably just going to find myself a Dedenne GX more than likely. Here I'm just trying to think, is there like a better combination to do this? Like, would it be better to Treasure and then Communication? But it's effectively no different. So here we're just going to put that Mew back in the deck, grab ourselves a Dedenne GX to bail us out of this dead hand, and then, you know, keep on trying to set up. So we can actually get a knockout this turn too if we're able to find a skateboard, and like a welder and 2 fire energy. That would actually do the trick, because the Dene, of course, won't count as our supporter for turn. So we're going to discard that treasure and get a new hand of 6. And that hand is pretty useless. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have a supporter, which is good, but we do need to... We're going to need to get some different cards here. So the fact that we got basically nothing we could play off of that, the Dene, means we probably aren't going to attack this turn, but we still could. We just need Stadium, Skateboard, 2 energy, or like specifically Big Oven and a Skateboard. That would also do the trick just fine. So pretty big Cynthia. If we can manage to take a knockout here, that would be pretty big. Like I said, this matchup is all about who can take the first knockout and who is going to whiff the first knockout. So let's see what I can manage to find off of the Cynthia. I wouldn't even mind myself a Fracture. That would also be good at continuing to get set up. And okay, that's actually a pretty good hand. If we can find, and we do have the Fracture too, if we can find ourselves in a Skateboard, that would be pretty good. So here I'm going to play the Big Oven, discard. Looks like I'm eyeing down a Mysterious Treasure. Okay, but I'm going to get rid of the Jirachi. I think that's also fine. Search my deck for 3 fire energy, again, just to thin them out of my deck, and that way, hopefully this Stellar Wish will allow me to find an escape board a little bit more easily. And if that's the case, we're going to be in pretty good spot here, I think. So, oh, I forgot, yeah, we can just hard retreat the Jirachi. You forget about that sometimes. You get so used to always using a skateboard. Sometimes it's better just to hard retreat it and get it out of the active spot that way. So here I was able to discard the Big Oven to accelerate an additional energy and then take a knockout. So let's see what Jeremy's going to do here. We know he has a Netball, so he's going to be guaranteed at least 1 energy. He has the Diancie, so he needs himself an Amoonguss. Well, he needs himself a Amoonguss first, because you need the Amoonguss's ability in play before you evolve into your Brelooms to get the best effect here. So we're going to see a Lily here off of this Pokegear. And let's see what route he is going to go. So he does have Slumber Force, so we might see him put that down just to thin it out of the deck here. We see the Netball. I'd like to maybe even... I was going to say, I'd like to see him maybe even hold the Netball until he plays his Lily. And based on, you know, if he finds himself an energy, he goes for another Shroomish. If he finds himself a Shroomish, he goes for energy. So I think I would have preferred to have seen that here. And okay, so he's going to go for Erica. Let's see, what is he going to find? And so we see the Amoonguss, but unfortunately, I don't think there is a Breloom in his hand, which is definitely unfortunate. So one thing that could be nice, if he does have a way to play that Pokemon Communication that's in his hand, we could see him go for another Foongus and inflict the Sleep and Poison on this Haxorus in an attempt to buy another turn. And here we see energy in his hand, we see the Pokemon Communication. So it's a situation, like I said, I think I would have really preferred to see him save that Netball and use it for whatever he might need after coming out on the other end of his supporter. He does have Pokemon Communication, but I don't think there's actually a Pokemon in his hand. That's the big downside here. So it looks like he might be, you know, second guessing if he wants to evolve. So here he is going to play Communication, so going for another Jirachi. Just because he was in a weird spot where he really couldn't afford to sacrifice any Pokemon. If he sacrifices Diancie, he can never one-shot these Haxorus. If he sacrifices Shroomish, he doesn't have an attacker. If he sacrifices Foongus, he wouldn't have his, you know, status-inflicting Pokemon. So just kind of a rough turn for him here with some crucial combo pieces. And here he is going to get down that skateboard and just retreat in this Jirachi and use Stellar Wish here, hopefully to find himself another combo piece to help him set up on his next turn. So I see some sort of gold card. Okay, that's going to be a Netball. That's going to be really good here. And let's see. It looks like he might be opting to save that for the next turn, which is, you know, potentially fine by me too. And from there, we'll probably just see a pass, unfortunately. So this was definitely kind of a big whiff on Jeremy's part. You know, me getting that knockout on my second turn with Haxorus, I think was definitely pretty big, knocking out his Jirachi there. And from there, we might just see a pass. The only thing I can think of is if he plays that net ball, but yeah, we are just going to see the pass, which is fine. And here, what am I going to do? I'm going to get down another Axew. Going to, looks like, attach to the Axew instead of the Fracture. Not sure how much I like that. Oh, I think I had a rare candy Haxorus in hand. I think that's what it was. Something like that. Yeah, I do remember having like some sort of combo piece. I was like, you know what, I'm going to attach this Axew because we're going to attack with that next turn. And here we're going to go down to 4 prizes to Jeremy's 6. So let's see. It's going to be another pretty big turn. He can't really afford to stall out any longer. He's going to have to make something happen this turn no matter what, I think. So here we are going to see a netball come down. So at the very least, I want to see another Shroomish come down. I think that's the big thing I want right now. Unless he has a Mungus. If he has a Mungus, I don't even hate the idea of going for a Fungus to inflict the status conditions, but I think I like Shroomish a little bit better here. Because all he needs is going to be a Breloom, and he can inflict his status conditions that way. Oh, it looks like he might be considering playing Pokemon Communication and just guaranteeing the Breloom here, which I don't think would be too bad either. So here we are going to see that. Or well, he'll need the Amoonguss. So actually, yeah, he does need that first. And it's going to be a big supporter here. If he has a Cynthia, I think we want to see him play that because his hand's a little bit thick. He might not be able to play down his hand enough to really get good value out of a Lily here. So I'll have to see what route he's going to go. We do see Reset Stamp in his hand, so he could burn that if he is going to go for a Lily. And so it's a card we haven't seen yet in this matchup, but Reset Stamp, very powerful new item we're getting in Unified Minds. But it's an item card, and your opponent shuffles their hand into their deck and draws equal to the amount of prize cards they have left. So normally it's a card you want to save closer to the end of the game, but in this case, Jeremy, it looks like he did need to play down his hand pretty low here to get some cards off Lily. And okay, and he actually finds a pretty perfect combination of cards here. He's able to find himself a Shroomish and a Communication to find himself his Breloom. So he's starting to stabilize a little bit. He's still definitely behind, and he is going to have to kind of make up this prize deficit at some point by me whipping a knockout. But we'll have to see, you know, how I'm going to be able to respond after this Reset Stamp. So here, it looks like I'm just going to promote this Fracture, and here I get such a good top deck. I'm able to get this Haxorus into play this turn. And I think I have a supporter, if I saw correctly. I think I had a Cynthia there. Oh no, it's a Lily. So we can... Looks like I'm going to put down the Mount Coronet. And I'm going to discard the Stadium to accelerate some energy just to get my hand a little bit lower, and hopefully we just can get an energy to take a knockout here. Ooh, that is rough. We actually whiffed the energy off of the Lily, so now we're actually going to be a little bit short, and this is definitely going to be a turn where Jeremy can potentially capitalize on this. This is definitely a big whiff on my part as well, so I'm sure he's going to be happy about that. And so here I'm going to get down another Axew, and I have a Communication. I kind of want to see myself, well, no, because that's the only Reset Stamp in Jeremy's deck, so I think I want to actually save the Communication for next turn. Because I could Communication the Jirachi to get a Haxorus, but I kind of want to conceal the strength of my hand here, potentially. But here I'm just going to go right for it. I think that's fine, too. I'm not sure how impactful it would be. I think knowing the list that I'm playing against, I probably should just hang on to the Haxorus, probably. But I guess if this were a tournament, hypothetically, I wouldn't know my opponent's list, so I should evolve here in case of a second Reset Stamp or something like that. So we're just going to do 90 damage to this Breloom, which feels bad. And this is definitely, like I said, a turn that Jeremy is going to be able to hop back into this game. And so let's see what he can find. He's going to get himself down a Fungus. That is another way he can get those status conditions down. Just because it does have that Spore attack that the Amoonguss is so reliant on to inflict these conditions. And from here, we might just see a Lily and just a knockout afterwards. He luckily doesn't really need too much. Oh, and here Jeremy is going to get down the energy on the Amoonguss. I actually do like this a little bit better because now both the Shroomish and the Amoonguss are 1 energy away from attacking. And he might potentially need to attack with Amoonguss at some point, especially if I ever go And for an attack with Victini Prism Star, the Amoonguss actually can take a knockout on that. So here we are going to see a Lily. And yeah, there's really nothing else I want to see. Okay, Jaime is going to play a netball. But again, I'm really not sure how much I really like this. If he has a Pokemon Communication in hand, I guess he could just go for a Pokemon to thin out of the deck in preparation of a Communication for next turn. Or if he doesn't have a supporter in hand, I could see him playing the netball here as well, just to thin another card out of the deck. So here, let's see if he's going to do anything else. But like I said, I'm really not anticipating him doing too much else this turn. And here he is going to take a knockout, and we're going to be back up tied at 4 prizes apiece here. Now granted, if I get a knockout here, I am going to be able to pull back ahead, and I'm expecting I will be able to, just because I do have a Haxorus here, but... And here you can see, I'm just a little bit torn. Do I want to promote this Jirachi and bank on hitting in a skateboard? But I think it's a little risky. I think I'm just going to go for the Haxorus in this case. It could definitely go either way. I'm not sure which is the correct play. But here we're going to go for the Haxorus, and we get a busted Metal Energy top deck here. And then we can just... looks like we're discussing something, not sure. And we did hit the escape board, so that definitely would have been good. So I'm going to rare candy into another Haxorus. We can get down the escape board on Jirachi potentially. And here we're just going to take a knockout on this Breloom since it was already softened up from the previous turn. So I am going to jump ahead in the prize race here. And Jaime is going to promote this Shroomish. Definitely seems good. And here... he does have a Grass Energy, so that's definitely going to be good for him. And he does have a Kartana in his hand. Looks like he might be thinking about putting that down. So, yeah, I'm not sure how crazy I am about that, but at the same time, yeah, I'm not sure how crazy I am about that, actually. So here he is going to evolve into another Amoonguss. That seems fine. I think the Fungus doesn't really matter too much at this point in the game. So here he's going to play Cynthia. I think he was just debating, does he want to play down Kartana or anything else to play down his hand a little bit. But here he can at least keep the bench space open to maybe do some Jirachi shenanigans, you know, if he does whiff his Breloom. So we're going to see the Cynthia. Let's see what he is going to be able to find here off this Cynthia. Definitely going to be a big Cynthia. So let's see. He does have Jirachi. I do see a skateboard. I don't see Breloom or a Pokemon Communication though. And if that's the case, that's a pretty big whiff on Jeremy's part. He was doing actually a really good job at coming back into this game since I did whiff that one knockout. And you can almost kind of see the game slipping away from him here as a result on this turn. So if he does have himself a Fungus, that doesn't seem terrible, but to maybe inflict a status condition. Oh, but he doesn't even have the Slumber Forest, so that's actually not even that powerful. So here he does have Jirachi at the very least. And we'll probably just see him retreat into this Jirachi and use Stellar Wish, but at the same time, I think it might be like too little too late if he does whiff the knockout this turn. But here he's going to play to his outs. He's going to see what he can make happen here. And we're going to see a Stellar Wish from Jeremy. Let's see what we can find off of these 5 cards. We do see a switch. Do see Pokemon Communication. Looks like he is going to go for the Pokemon Communication, of course, because he's going to want to find himself a Breloom. And he does put back that Amoonguss. Now, does he have a switch in hand? If that's the case, he actually could make a comeback here and still take a knockout this turn. Oh, but he did already get rid of his energy, so actually that might not work out for him too well this turn. So yeah, it looks like unfortunately he probably is just going to have to sacrifice this Jirachi. So here he is going to wake up. And I'm going to, looks like Mysterious Treasure. Gonna get down in a skateboard here, it appears. And here I'm just a little conflicted. What do I actually want to get rid of? Because basically I want to set up Victini Prism Star, because right now this Haxorus will take a prize, my remaining Haxorus will take a prize, and then all I need is Victini. So here I'm just going to hang on to the escape board in case Jaime does go for some status conditions to try to inflict. So here I can probably treasure, maybe even get rid of the big oven potentially. I think that would probably be okay if I do want to do that. Because I could treasure away that, find a dragon Pokemon, then communication that back into the deck for the Victini to get that thing down. But here, we're just going to take the knockout. I think it's fine because I don't need the Victini this turn anyways, and I'm not threatened by another reset stamp. So I think I'm pretty much in a good spot here. So let's see what Jeremy's going to do. He does, of course, have the Breloom now, which is definitely good. Has Grass Energy. He is going to get down in a skateboard, it appears, and then just a Lily. And he finds himself a couple of Slumber Forest, finds himself a Shroomish here. Doesn't really need too much. He really just needs Breloom and Energy for the rest of the game, and you know, just fingers crossed that I whiff a knockout, basically. So here he is going to take a knockout on this Haxorus. So I'm going to need a Metal Energy, which I top deck like a god. I definitely been getting a little bit lucky with some of those Metal Energy top decks throughout this game. So here I am going to Mysterious Treasure, going to get rid of a Welder. And I'm going to go for an Axew, and then Communication it back into the deck for Victini Prism Star. So I'm not sure if I even have another Haxorus left in deck or not, but either way, the Victini is just a more consistent way of finding my final KO at some point during this game. So here I'm going to Mysterious Treasure. We're going to grab a rare candy, it appears, so maybe I'm doing that just to thin it out of the deck. And we don't have any fire energy in there, so maybe that was a bit of a misstep on my part. I literally just searched my deck, so I should have known that there was no fire energy in there. So I definitely should have saved that for maybe a turn where I used Victini to shuffle a bunch of energy back into my deck. So slight misplay, but at the same time, I think I'm in a relatively decent spot here. Now, the one thing I am worried about now is I have Welder, and I can get a knockout, but at the same time, I'm worried about not having fire energy left to be able to take a knockout with Victini on my next turn if I commit both these energies to the Haxorus. I would actually kind of prefer to attack with Victini, but I don't know if my odds are that great of hitting what I needed. So here I'm just going to Welder to the Haxorus, that's fine. And then all I need to do is find myself a Fire Crystal, and I will be able to close out this game probably. And here we are going to take a knockout here on this Breloom. And we do find a fire energy as well, so that's pretty busted. So Jeremy's going to promote this Shroomish. And I think he top decked a Breloom, so that's definitely good. He's going to get down Slumber Forest here, getting rid of my big oven. That's fine. And he has a Grass Energy as well, so he's being able to chain these attackers now. He finally kind of got in a groove here with his deck. And here he's just going to Cynthia and refresh his hand a little bit. So basically, he just needs to make sure that I whiff a Fire Crystal on this next turn. Otherwise, I can just win. Because I can Welder the 1 energy to the Victini, and then off the 3 cards and off a Star Wish, if I find the Fire Crystal, I can close out this game. So Jeremy's going to go for a Pokegear right here. Just taking a look at what all is in his deck. Looks like he does have another Breloom, so he does have another attacker. But I guess it doesn't really matter too much, since if this one goes down, he would lose either way. But yeah, it just all kind of comes down to, do I whiff the Fire Crystal on my next turn? So let's see what he's going to do here. I really don't think he needs too much else. All he has to do is swing on this Haxorus and he will be able to take a knockout. And here I think I'm just double checking how many of my energies I've used, how many of my fire crystals I've used. And okay, so we're going to welder the 1 energy onto the Victini, drawing 3 cards, and then let's see, I'm just checking, do we have any other energy in deck? Because I was thinking if we have a metal energy, we could always just get rid of the Viridian, or search it out with the Viridian. But here, we have 5 cards left in deck anyways, so we can just find the Fire Crystal off the Jirachi. And here we can get 3 fire energies back, attach 1 for turn, and then from there we can take a knockout. And here I'm going to Viridian away another fire just to add some more damage here. I don't think it matters too much. But the Victini, of course, 20 for every basic energy in my discard pile, then shuffle them back into my deck. So we should be able to knock out Breloom for the final prize here. So yeah, guys, hope you did enjoy a look at these early Unified Minds decks. Definitely stay tuned for the deck profiles. I will have links down below in the description whenever those videos go live. And of course, keep your eyes peeled to the channel because we're going to have a ton of Unified Minds coverage coming up over the next several weeks as well. But if you did enjoy this content, of course, feel free to like and subscribe, and consider supporting this channel by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/rarecandytcg, or by picking up some merch from our online store, rarecandytcg.com. It would mean a lot. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.